first thing is I generate more opportunities than the business could possibly handle. That's my number one thing I do to any company to make sure that I won't fail. Somebody said in the last event, he said, if you want to get there fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with a group. There's some people, Carl has something called a horizontal skill set, like lawyers and CPAs, financial specialists, business growth specialists, people that you can really be dangerous and help every single business. And that's even harder sometimes to think about, like, wow, if I can do really, really good work with every business, which one do I choose? When I was running my Ninja Warrior gym, when we opened it, I met a 9-year-old she already ran 3 marathons, and she raises money for St. Jude's Hospital. She's raised over $2 million. She's now 16, a state champion track star in high school in Huntsville, Alabama. Could you imagine having that clear of a vision about what your life's purpose is at the age of 9? And imagine if you did what you can accomplish by even the age of 16, $2 million. I'm seriously almost immediately start originating deals, meeting sellers, making offers. Your chances of success are gonna frickin' skyrocket. It's crazy. We have people who move here to this country from other places that don't have U.S. citizenship. Do you think them going around and really trying to learn how to do the SBA banking really made too much sense for them? No. I have a strategy. It's 3 steps that makes every business that has the right ingredients, it's almost impossible to fail. You guys want to know it? One of the things that allows us to take action is confidence. Would you agree? Confidence is really, really big. And when you're confident in what you're doing, you feel like you can conquer the world. You feel like you can take action. What I'm going to ask you to do today is I want you to forget that crap. I want you to take imperfect action, whether you're confident or not. Because to be able to become confident in something, you have to be able to get the reps in. So we're going to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, and it's called establishing your Dealmaker identity. This is a training that I've given quite a few people in the room before, and I've had a lot of feedback, a lot of DMs and Slack and different things telling me that this was the one key that unlocked their ability to continue forward and grow. We feel like we don't know enough, that we're not ready to take action. Does everybody ever feel that way? Raise your hand if you feel like you need to know every single thing there is to do it before you do it. Do you consider yourself high performance? Maybe some of you, but it's difficult. It's really difficult to take action when you feel like you're not prepared enough to take action. So I want you to go through this today with an open mind. I want you to suspend reality for a few minutes. The logical path that we take as humans, and the most common path that people in our programs, or maybe even in Sub 2 and Protege, any type of program where you're going in and learning from someone like a Pace or a Carl, is we want to go through all the training. We want to know what we're doing. We want to learn it. We're binge watching. We're watching every video Carl ever made, every video Pace has ever made, because once we get it all, once we've figured it out, then we can take action and we can be successful. Is that correct? It's not correct. No, it's not correct. That's what you think, though. That's the most common path. We want to learn as much as we can quickly. One thing's really interesting. You guys ever watered plants that just got planted in the ground? I didn't know this. My wife worked at a nursery for 6 years, so she taught me this. So I'm sitting here just pouring water all over this plant. She said, what if I just poured water in your mouth just like that? Could you absorb it all at one time? I said, probably not. I'd probably drown. She's like, you're drowning these plants. They can only absorb so much water at one given time. That's why you have to spread it out evenly, or do like a soaker hose, or you have those really cool things that we played in as kids where it goes back and forth, where you're not overwatering it too fast. And your brain's exactly the same way. You can't absorb all this information fast enough. And even if you do, education without action is called entertainment. If you cannot put to use what you're learning, you're not actually learning it. To learn and not to do is not yet to learn. Has everybody read Wink and Grow Rich, my favorite book? And it's wink, not think. Think about that. We do this because we feel like we want to know what we're doing, because we're humans. We have this problem called uncertainty, and that stops us from taking action. Or we don't want to look like an idiot. We don't want to go and have this seller conversation or do something that wasn't correct because we're afraid it's going to be our only opportunity, or at least we act like it's only opportunity. Does anybody feel like that? Just in life, I want you to stop doing that. We want to learn and then execute. Learn and then execute. When you join and you go through a program like Sub 2 or through Dealmaker Wealth Society, Dealmaker Protege, we want to go through the beginner course. Then we want to go through all the expert course. Then we want to make sure that we've done enough reps in practice. And we want to feel comfortable with every single thing we do. We want to go look at deals so we know exactly where everything is on the website. So if we need to reference back to it, we can find it really quickly. But I'm telling you that's not the right way to do it. I'm telling you that the people that achieve things that are unbelievable in life Do not look at life this way. And I want to give you the opportunity to change your mindset today. Because there's a lot of people, we talked about overthinkers. Pace said, is there any overthinkers? These are the overthinkers. And it's not a negative thing. It's not a negative thing. It's not a bad thing to be an overthinker. But situationally, it can hold you back. It can hold you back from taking action. Taking action leads you to be productive. Without productivity, you're not really going very far, right? So I want to see if we can just erase this today, right? So what's the right path? The right path for this, and this is for anything you do in life. Forget everything we're talking about in application, but just in general, the right path you can take right now that's different than what you're already doing is, number one, you got to fix your mindset. From there, you can really have the right clarity and you can establish that vision, but if your mind is not right and you let these limiting beliefs and these self-doubts just continue to dominate your mind. Think about the zebras. Remember the zebras from day one? How they literally let survival be the only thing that drives their inner being. You want to get away from that. After we've found our clarity, we've established our vision, we're going to go and identify our Dealmaker identity. And I'm going to go through these step by step with you today. There's something we call XYZ in our system, and that's called originate deals, meet sellers, make offers. The imperfect action is literally doing those three things, X, Y, and Z. We're going to do it using something called the direct approach to go originate those deals. And we're going to go meet the sellers and make the offers. So that's really what we do. Alexis, I put her up here. I don't know if she's in the room. Because she came in and she was on fire. She didn't stop. She took action every single day, whether it was perfect or not. You're very young 20s. And the fact that she's able to go out and execute and close deals quickly she's astonishing, by the way. Hey, Alexis. She just walked in. I used your picture. Hope that's okay. What I was saying is you came in as a very young woman, very bright, obviously. You're brilliant. But you were able to take imperfect action very quickly. And you did what? Meet sellers, originate deals. Originate deals, meet sellers, make offers, and then you close the deal. Right? We're talking about that. Instead of learning as you go, you will need to don't learn then go, learn as you go. Okay? Let's keep going. So the mindset is focus number one. First of all, you need to understand that you can do this because so many other people have. You looked up here a minute ago, and you got Brittany, Eric, and Daniel, and yesterday you had Mike, and you had Dimitri, and you have all these other people who have already done it. It's proven. It's done. Have you guys ever heard the story about the 4-minute mile? Yeah. It was impossible until someone did it, and then over 40 people did it the following year, right? You can do it. You need to know that other people are doing it, and the people who are doing it are taking imperfect action, and that's part of the key to success. Not everybody who jumps into the idea of we're going to go and focus on small business acquisitions, not everyone is a seasoned professional. Not everyone's been doing this for 20 years, yet you keep seeing people who said, I was sitting where you were sitting in September, never even thought about it, and they're up here holding tombstones, which shows they've closed the deal, right? It's a really, really big thing. So taking imperfect action, focusing on prospecting, focusing on deal origination, and making sure that you understand that activity leads to productivity. Activity is not learning. Activity is not sitting down and reading. Activity is not binge watching videos in a portal or in a course or on YouTube. Activity is actually doing the work. Okay? Next thing is you got to remember you always punch past the target. Is everybody a Bruce Lee fan? Punch past the target. Do you know what that means? Just in when he was talking about punching past the target, he said if his opponent's head's here, he's punching here, right? Not to make this violent, but in this application, punching past the target is really setting yourself up for success and having the right expectations. If you go out and originate 3 deals, and guess what? One of them may be okay, and then you work that deal for 3 or 4 months, and then it falls through, how are you going to feel? Disappointed. You're going to feel defeated. Your mind's going to be all jacked up. Carl calls it the inner bitch voice. You got to squash it. Okay? When you punch past the target, you originate 45 deals, understanding that only 4 or 5 of them are even going to be viable to begin with. From that, 2 of them may have really, really good conversations with you. You have 2 of them over a long period of time, and then if one falls away, you still have 1 more left. You always punch way past the target, right? When I come in and take over a business, I have a strategy. It's 3 steps that makes every business that has the right ingredients, it's almost impossible to fail. You guys want to know it? The first thing, you don't need to know about the rest, but the first thing is I generate more opportunities than the business could possibly handle. That's my number one thing I do to any company to make sure that I won't fail. Because you could have the worst conversion rates in marketing, worst conversion rates in sales, and you can still blow it out of the water. If you have more opportunity than you handle, you can also fumble your way to success. When you have literally thousands of leads a month, like a lot of my companies do, we could be terrible. and give ourselves a 6-month window to get better every day. And then finally, once we get our stuff together and we're doing really well, without having to spend any more money on ads, we're able to just start raking in the money. And I've done it again and again and again. There's a reason why I have Inc. 5000s on the wall, several of them, okay? It's because it's like a really good system. Imagine translating that same concept over to deal making. It works really, really well. So the idea of what Carl taught us earlier with annuity deals, going out and originating 30 deals, it's really not that hard. And we're going to go over that. Okay, focus number 2 is vision and clarity. It's really, really tough for us to ever hit a destination if we don't know what the destination is. We have to have vision and clarity. There's one of the biggest things that leads to depression, one of the biggest things that leads to a lot of really bad things in our world comes from someone who doesn't have a clear vision. They don't have clarity. There's so many people that are just wandering. They're just doing jobs for the sake of doing it. They're doing it because their parents did it. They do it because they feel like they're expected to do it. And they don't have their own vision and clarity, right? You have an 11-year-old like Mason who's already kind of figured out his path at some level. He's getting amazing perspective. And how blessed is he to really have that kind of mind at 11 years old? It's crazy. When I was running my Ninja Warrior gym, when we opened it, I met a 9-year-old she already ran 3 marathons. And she raises money for St. Jude's Hospital. She's raised over $2 million. She's now 16, a state champion track star in high school in Huntsville, Alabama. And I was just thinking to myself, could you imagine having that clear of a vision about what your life's purpose is at the age of 9? And imagine if you did what you can accomplish by even the age of 16, $2 million. It's nuts. There's people in this room that are in their 60s who may have never figured out their vision. When you talk about deal banking, it's your buy box, really understanding which sector, where are you in the journey, what are you hoping that accomplishing a business is going to do for you, and then really being true with yourself around what resources do you have to help make that a possibility, and then is there a specific type of deal financing that's going to work best for my scenario. So we're going to go all through that. Dealmaker identity is how does this fit into my life? That's something that every one of you should have already been thinking about. You probably have. You're like, wow, I do have a lot going on. I've been pursuing this other path for quite a while. You're trying to logically justify in your mind whether you can do this and that, right? Does anybody feel that way? That's normal. That's what we always look at, right? Whatever you water grows, so I just don't want to stop doing what I'm doing. But how does this fit into my life, and how can this help accomplish my goals, right? What's my buy box going to be? You're trying to see yourself inside of buying businesses. Is that truth? So as a real estate guy, real estate agent, let me be clear here. I was the bad guy, the real estate agent for a long time. When I was walking buyers through a house and all of a sudden she's like, oh my gosh, our painting would look so good here and our couch will fit perfect up against this wall. Like I knew they loved it. They saw themselves in the house. You like my impression, right? They saw themselves in the house, and I know that's when they really said, wow, I can see myself in this. And that's what I'm trying to help unlock for you is how you could do this. I promise you could do this. So let's keep going. So popular sectors for buying businesses, healthcare, manufacturing, engineering, home services, professional services, e-commerce, online businesses, SaaS. There's so many different popular sectors. And when you listen to Carl, and he talks about deal specification and stay in your lane, almost everyone in the room has something they can offer of value to someone in this industry. If you're an executive in a medical manufacturing business, you may not do really well with like e-commerce and SaaS. There are some people, Carl has something called a horizontal skill set, like lawyers and CPAs, financial specialists, business growth specialists, people that you can really be dangerous and help every single business. And that's even harder sometimes to think about, like, wow, if I can do really, really good work with every business, which one do I choose? And these things that are what stop us from taking action when we have paralysis of analysis. And we said, all right, it's going to take a while to figure out what my buy box is. I get it, but until then, I'm just going to learn as much as I possibly can. But I'm telling you, until you have clear vision, learning is not. So think about where you are in your journey right now. Are you 11? Are you 20s and 30s? Are you 40, 50, 60s? How old are you right now? Be honest with yourself. Don't say it out loud. Okay? But think about that. Keep this in your mind as we go through this journey. Next thing is I want to say to myself, what am I hoping to accomplish by buying a business? What are you hoping that buying a business is going to do for you and why? Carl said this yesterday boldly, no one wants to buy a business. People want to buy the benefits of business ownership. Think about why you want to buy a business? Are you trying to replace that day job? Are you a full-time investor looking to diversify your portfolio? Maybe the real estate game, what you've been doing for so many years is getting harder and harder. It's not working anymore. Maybe there's too much competition. Maybe you just want to get bigger, stronger, faster returns, faster break-even, better ROI, and doing one big deal rather than 30 smaller deals. Maybe that's what you want. Maybe you're looking to retire early. We have tons of people that we've been mentoring for a while who are in their 55, 56, 57, and they just don't want to go the full length of the game. They want to have one big win so they can retire early. Maybe that's what you want. Maybe you just want time freedom. Maybe you're younger and there's just something inside of you in your gut that you can't squash it if you try, and it's this entrepreneurial itch, and you have to work for yourself and you have to go after it, and you just got to do it. You could go work for anyone. Maybe you've got great skills, but you just can't do it. Like me. I'm a terrible employee. Most people ask me what I do. I tell them I'm unemployed because I don't have an employer. Maybe that's what you want, but I want you to think about, where am I in my world? Am I 40 years old? I've got a lot of gas left in the tank. I'm actually getting towards the top of my game. My skills have been sharpening for 20 years. I've been making really good money, right? But really what I want is I want to be able to spend more time with my 11-year-old and my 6-year-old, right, or 8-year-old. I didn't ask Nolan how old he is, but maybe that's what you want. Maybe that's your driver of where you are in your life. Maybe you're 56. Maybe it's completely different. You've been an executive at your company for 20 years, and they forced you out. They gave you a forced severance because they paid you too much, and they can hire these schmoes for much less money. And you're like, well, I don't really want to retire. Maybe I could. I don't want to really go work for somebody else because I don't want to get back in that rat race forever, and I just want to do one really, really big deal. And maybe that's the rest of my life. Maybe you're 65, and you've been doing a lot of different stuff over the last 40 years, and you finally found that maybe this is something that I can do, be my one last big hurrah, and then be able to leave a legacy for my grandkids. Maybe you're 31 years old, and you feel like the idea of being an owner-investor, you'd be bored to death, because you got to do stuff, you're busy. Like me, I can't sit still at 37. That would bore me to death. I am an owner-investor in about 11 companies, right? But I still got to do something. I got to work. I got to have a job, whether I'm employed or not. I got to have a job, and that's why I really love consulting for equity, as you already know, right? I want you to think about where you could be in your mind. What do I want buying a business to do for me? Where am I right now, right? Then also think about what resources you have. So my podcast, Surges of Income podcast, we talk about this all the time. Resources is time, money, and wisdom. What do you have that you can trade? We talked about that yesterday. What do you have that you can trade? What are your resources? There's some people in here who have more money than you can imagine. I know who they are. I'm not looking at you, right? But there's other people in here that don't have 3 nickels to rub together. I'm looking at everybody. The lights are blinding me, right? But think about that. When you have a lot of money and no time, these people are investing in people rather than going out and using their time to find businesses. They're going out and they're leveraging their biggest resource, which is money, to go and accomplish what they're looking to do, because time is their most precious resource. Maybe you have 0 money and you have lots of time. You could be of great asset to somebody else who has a lot of money and no time, where you can be their bird dog, and you can go out and get all the deals, and you can be the deal scout, and you can handle a lot of the financial analysis, and you could be the integrator for one of the businesses in their portfolio or their empire, right? Think about what resource you can leverage. Maybe you've been on the earth a little while and you've got some gray hair and you're an amazingly wise person and you've done so many things. Why can't you pay that forward? Why can't you leverage your wisdom or your credibility, all the things we talked about yesterday, to be able to do deals with other people? Imagine that same person, 30-year executive, medical manufacturing company, Six Sigma, he's got lean manufacturing, he's just been coaching executives again and again. He can go into any business and use that wisdom and do deals. He can leverage that wisdom. Imagine if that person went and found another business they want to buy, and they went and sat down for a pitch in front of an investor. Do you feel like the investors would say, wow, this person's a safe pair of hands for my company? Do you feel like they would? With that kind of track record? What do you have that you can leverage? Maybe it's just your network, okay? Also think about, based off who you are, there's going to be probably a most likely deal financing. SBA's just changed a lot of rules, changes the game a little bit. But before, you had to have like a pretty good, strong financial profile to be considered for an SBA loan. If you don't fit that, and you're 31 years old, 24 years old, 11 years old, should you be going after deals that would really only likely work with SBA financing? Yes or no? No, would you go to broker sites and go talk to people where the deals just hit the broker site and you're expecting them to do 100% financing? No, don't do that. If you're going to go after these big whale deals, it's going to take some level of SBA financing, and you're perfectly qualified, 680 plus FICO score, you've got the financial profile, you've got the experience. The bank, everyone's going to say, yes, I feel good about you. You're a safe pair of hands for my money, not just a safe pair of hands for my business with the seller, but the bank feels like you're a safe pair of hands. Then that's great. But if that's not you, why are you spending so much time going after those type of deals? That's not your most likely deal structure. We have people who move here to this country from other places that don't have U.S. citizenship. Do you think them going around and really trying to learn how to do the SBA banking really made too much sense for them? No. We had people who moved here from this country, from places in Africa, going after annuity deals and closing them left and right because they knew, based off their dealmaker identity, what kind of deal structures and financing is going to work best. So rather than going and trying to learn every single thing there is to learn before you take action, go learn the one thing that's going to be the most effective for your journey, right? Think about that. Sometimes consulting for equity, maybe you're that young 31-year-old who would be bored completely if they didn't have anything to do and they're just investing, and you like to solve problems. Like, it literally fills your cup to solve problems, unlock puzzles, help people grow. Go focus on consulting for equity. It's okay to choose a path in deal making. The dealmaker identity concept is that there's so many different ways you can go about it. There's so many different options, so many different tools in your tool belt. Maybe you've been crushing it already. We got some wholesalers in the house, right? Do what you do best. Like, you guys know Justin Coble? He's a good friend of mine. He's a brilliant cold caller. We're chatting about the same thing. It's like, dude, use your superpower. You're a wholesaler. Go out there and just start dialing. He picked his niche. He started dialing. People are answering the phone, and they're really receptive to it. It's amazing. You guys are good at finding big groups of investors to send deals to. Why not do the same thing? Have that be your dealmaker identity. I'm just trying to help you understand how you can see your picture on the wall and your couch in the room. Is this making sense? Because sometimes we get stuck and we're like, wow, I love the concept. I love the idea of doing this, but how's this work for me? So I'm just trying to open your eyes a little bit, make you look at it from a different world. And when we feel clarity in our vision, we get to the point where we feel comfortable finally. What I'm trying to do is help you have more confidence. Because without being confident, it's still tough. Chris said go take imperfect action, but you have something like hardwired inside of you, this thing called anxiety sometimes. It stops you. I'm trying to help you get past that. I live with my mom's anxiety, my wife has anxiety. I work with these type of things every day, and I understand what stops action, so I'm trying to unlock that for you. And then once you've done that, and you've fixed your mindset, and you've got your vision and your clarity, and you've identified your dealmaker identity, then go and learn the basics, and really understand all the things it takes to do a deal. You don't want to go in and start doing a deal with no knowledge. Understand what the deal looks like from the very second you originate a deal to the moment you close it. There's only about 7 to 9 steps, depending on the deal type. Understand what needs to be done. Also understanding what you need to know before you send a letter of intent. You don't have to worry about the next 90 days after closing the deal before you even learn how to do this part over here. Start executing what you're learning in order, right? I think that's very, very powerful. But take imperfect action. Go out there. I'm seriously, almost immediately start originating deals, meeting sellers, making offers. Your chances of success are going to frickin' skyrocket. It's crazy. We talked about how every opportunity is a potential deal. While you're originating these deals, if you can't help them, connect them to somebody else who can. Help the lead every single time. Help the deal that you're originating, whether you make money on it or not. And you're going to feel so much better about what you're doing. You're going to be more prepared with every single deal and comes across your desk. You're going to be able to have referrals come to you that you'll never even think will ever be there because you helped somebody when you didn't have to. There may be ways for you, if you're a connector and you're wholesaling already, go out there and just do this completely and originate as many deals as you want. And 1 of every 5 ends up becoming something that gets monetized. That's a freaking pipeline. Do you guys know sales? Do you guys understand sales and sales pipelines? Right? We have contacts, we have prospects, we have people we've had appointments with. And when we talk about sales, we're building a swell. If you're going to start from scratch, it takes 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks sometimes to get this giant list of people who could close at any moment. And all of a sudden, that wave starts to crest, and that's where your momentum comes from. So that's why we take this imperfect action, and we originate deals, we meet sellers, we make offers. We need to learn as we go. You've got to trust the system, though. When you're inside of a system, you're inside of a group, a community, when you're able to give yourself permission to stop being uncertain and stop feeling like you're going to look like an idiot and stop saying, I've got to learn everything before I take action, and you trust the process and you take this imperfect action. When you have the community around you that's going to help you, they're going to be there when you have the relevant questions. There's going to be somebody in the room that is sitting there, would love to help you. David, how many questions do you get a week? He does. Trust the process. When you're in part of a community, not by yourself, you can take imperfect action knowing that you have a safety net. You have somebody else behind you. You have mentors behind you, other people who've already paved the path. Remember, it's not impossible. Okay, think about that. So when you're inside of a community like this is one of the reasons you network. Network like crazy. Understand not only how you can help people and add value, but focus on developing, connecting, and building beautiful relationships, because as you go out there and take imperfect action, now you have all these people who are your advocates because they're your friends, and they want to see you do well, and you won't believe how much of that energy will come back to you where people start inviting you into their deals. It's insane. It's crazy. So, based off everything we talked about, I'm going to give you an action plan in just a second, but before you do that, the fastest accelerator for success in a community like this, a community like Sub 2, is really leveraging the community and becoming partners. There's literally, I almost guarantee there's over hundreds of partnerships that have developed in our community. Hundreds of people have never met. Ernie and Michael, did you know each other before? No, and that's insane. Did you ever think that you would be part of a community where you would meet somebody who's probably a very good friend now, who has an 11-year-old son who's out originating deals for you? Would you ever think that? Pace, you missed it. This 11-year-old Mason over here originated a $2.4 million deal. Yeah, it's crazy. It's amazing, right? But you don't have to do this alone, right? This may be your fastest path to a first deal. Does anyone ever feel like they have their back up against the wall? I'm not going to do it because I don't know what the heck's behind me. But do you ever feel like that? Like, man, I got to do something now because I need to make money. I'm trying to avoid having to go back to a job. I'm trying to avoid looking like an idiot because I've already called my shot, told all my friends and family that I'm going to be a bigwig and I'm going to go out and invest and become something bigger than they've ever seen before. And you don't want to walk home with your tail tucked between your legs. There's so many people out there that would love to invest in you and be a partner with you. Success is lonely, right? Many hands make light work. Somebody said in the last event, he said, if you want to get there fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with a group. He said it was an old Nigerian saying, which I'm not from Nigeria, but I love it, right? Think about that. So a couple things. Before we do this, there's a lot of people who make a conscious decision. They said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do deals, whether it be real estate, whether it be buying small businesses or large businesses. There's three reasons why people fail most of the time. Can I tell you those? The reason why I want to tell you these three reasons is because I want you to already know what they are so you can avoid them. Just like a Sherpa guide going up a mountain, I'm going to say there's 3 different areas that you want to stay away from, because if you step on these things, you're going to fall to your death. I'm giving you the caution map right now, what to avoid. There's 3 reasons why people fail. You ready? Number 1, they never started. The one activity that leads to productivity, which in our world is what? Say it again with me. Originate deals, meet sellers, make offers. So one thing you got to do. People who've never started because they allowed self-doubt to creep in and say, I'm not ready. I don't know enough. I don't want to look like an idiot. That's one of the biggest reasons. Another reason is because they're unclear. They're saying, I'm feeling pretty good about this, but I don't know what direction to go in still. I'm still trying to figure out my buy box, and I feel like every effort that's not focused towards my buy box is a wasted effort. Does anybody ever feel that way? That's another reason why I'm teaching you this now so you don't have to do this. There's other people who get in and they just start going through it. They go through the online courses. They binge watch every video they can find because they want to feel really prepared. They want to learn everything they can learn before they act. Once again, it's because they're trying to do what zebras do. They want to, prove, protect. We don't have to do that. We're lions. Our eyes are on the front of our head, not on the side of our head. We're not built to survive. We're built to thrive and get what we want, right? Focus on that. Second reason why people fail is they do the wrong deal origination. This is frustrating for me because I tell people all the time, not all brokers are bad, don't get me wrong, but people who go on and they just think, all right, I get what you said, Carl. Off-market deals are the best. I get it. But there's 2 million businesses right there for sale. Why would I go off and do all that hard work to find one when there's 2 million of them on for sale? Do you see that number? It says 2 million EBITDA, whatever that means. It says 2 million EBITDA. Why should I go and send out letters and call people and build relationships when there's 2 million businesses for sale already right there in my computer? It's stupid. Why would I go do that? That's the second reason people fail. Because I'm telling you that going up for off-market deals is how you're really going to get to the next level. When you deal with brokers and you deal with only looking online, you're not able to leverage all the wonderful things that you're learning at Dealmaker Weekend around seller psychology and how to do two offer structures. And you get blocked a lot from even talking to the seller and all these other things. Not saying all brokers are bad, because there are some really amazing brokers. They're unicorns. There are some, and they're incredible. And we work with a lot of brokers on some of the bigger deals that we do. But people who go in and just hit that broker wall, and they said, yeah, I tried that for a while. I sent out several requests for information. I only got to see one set of financials because I had to fill out an NDA, and they wanted my personal financial statement. I don't really have a lot of money, so I just kind of stopped the process. If you guys weren't in here an hour ago for Abraham and Carl gave us a master class on how to get around that. But so many people, even when they learn it, they don't execute. They hit this broker wall, right? Maybe they had a hard time getting financing. Maybe they did get past the broker, and they did talk to the seller, and they get all the way to the end, and they had a hard time with financing, and then they quit. Has anybody had a problem like that? I know it because, Carl's partner at Dealmaker Wealth Society, we talk to people on the phone every single day, and I hear what my sales team's telling me in my ear, telling me, all right, well, this is what he had happen to him. This is what happened. This is why he decided not to do it. Like, I'm hearing these things. These are the reasons why people don't succeed. They never started because they let their mind stop them from doing that. They let uncertainty, unclarity, and they didn't have clear vision. Number two, they did the wrong activities. And number three, they had this problem called not punching through the target, and they didn't do enough of the activity. So they had 3 opportunities to begin with. One of them went pretty far, and then when it fell apart at the end, they felt defeated, they felt like a failure, and they felt like crawling into a hole and never coming back out. But when you don't do that, when you do take the right activities and you do the right things and you go out and originate deals and you meet sellers and you make offers and you do the right deal origination, going off market and doing the things that you're actually being taught. And when you go up here, I want to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you again tomorrow. You're going to see all these people getting trophies and awards. How many of them found them on broker sites? Almost none. There's a reason why, right? And then they had this one thing where they don't punch through the target. What did I tell you just a few minutes ago? I have a formula, it's 3 steps. If the business has the right ingredients, it's impossible for me to let it fail if I implement my system. Number 1, I give it more prospects than it can possibly handle. Number 2, we never go on sale, ever. Number 3, we deliver a 10x satisfaction rate on every dollar spent. People say, wow, I would have paid 10 times more from that. Kind of like your testimony earlier when you heard Scott. You're like, wow, I would have paid 500 times more to hear that. That's the kind of businesses I like. And when you're doing deal origination, real estate, business acquisitions, whatever it is, punch past the target. First step for not failing is originate more deals than you can possibly handle. Guess what? If you originate more deals than you can possibly handle, you'll be the most popular person in the room. Trust me. I originate seller leads on demand. I can originate as many as you could ever handle. I can't just give them to you because they're the ones we're working right now on our stuff. But if you had that ability, that's a great problem to have. You'll be the most popular person in here. Everyone will want to partner with you because you solve one of the biggest problems in the matrix. You're going to attract CPAs and attorneys and people who are great at negotiation, and they're going to want to join forces with you. So go out there and do the right stuff. Don't stop yourself from taking action. Focus and get your clarity. Think about my identity. Remember where I am, how old I am, what am I hoping buying a business is going to do for me? What resources do I have that I can leverage to be successful? Right? What do I want my life to look like? Ever stop and think about that and kind of future cast what your life looks like? It's a powerful exercise. So I think I have an action plan and then we're done. So the last thing I want to tell you is an action plan. So step 1, you got to fix our mindset. It's not impossible. People are doing it all the time. If you ever get to that point where you feel like this is impossible, understand that it's a game of inches. Somebody else is doing it, they're doing it really well, and it's usually just the little tiny things that you're not doing that make the biggest difference. Also think about that person that ran the 4-minute mile for the first time ever, which was proven impossible until it wasn't, and then over 40 people did it the following year. Every time you think it's impossible, remember who you saw talking on the stage, holding these crystal tombstones, and every other conference or event you've seen when somebody's been on stage and you haven't, they've proven to you it's not impossible. We have 21-year-olds who are doing it. We have 67-year-olds who are doing it. We have women that are doing it, men that are doing it. We have everyone you can imagine who's doing the right things, putting in the right effort, the right activities, in the right direction, who's listening and learning from the wisdom and guidance that we're giving you. They're being successful. So fix your mindset. Understand that. Next thing is, it's really tough to get to your destination with your GPS and your phone if you don't type in the address. Understand your vision, your clarity. What are you trying to get to? Think about that. Internalize it. Say, what do I want out of buying businesses? What type of deals are most likely going to be the ones that I need to be going after? Focus your learning on those type of deals specifically and take imperfect action. Okay? Find your Dealmaker identity. Go learn the basics. Take imperfect action. The action you're taking is originating deals, meeting sellers, and making offers. Okay? So a couple things I'll give you real quick. One thing I really, really feel strongly about is when you network, I hear this all the time. I'm listening to you guys talking. I don't know if you know that. I'm like a little eavesdropper. And you're telling everyone how great you are, and you're bragging on yourself. Stop that. Stop that. You need to ask better questions. My Wink and Grow Rich people who've read this before, ask better questions. When you talk to someone, ask them the questions that are going to help unlock your breakthrough. Say, at this moment, so Pace, what was that moment when you just had that light bulb clicked on, that aha moment for you where everything came together? Can you share that with me? If you ask that question to somebody, you can learn their breakthrough. You can ask 10 people that who've closed deals. Find the people who hold the tombstones and ask them that specific better question. How much further along could you be rather than bragging on yourself? You also may say, hey, you decided to go after home services deals, Eric. Can you tell me about how you came up with that as your deal specification? What led you that direction? What do you like most about those type of deals? What do you like least? And you can even say, hey, somebody with my type of skill set, which is when you get to brag on yourself, here's what I'm really, really good at, best in the world. Is there any way you could use me in one of your organizations, number one, or number two, if you ever come across deals that come across your desk that would be a better fit for me than you, can you please send me a referral, bring me in on it, happy to make sure you're compensated. You just got to ask the right questions. So to me, that's the biggest thing I want to give you. So I think that's all. We're not going to take any questions right now.